Hello and warm welcome the audience to New Generation Women, and I'm Janine Fanzenos. The time of lockdown gets really dense, so you can feel there's tension in the air, even if you don't go to the news all the time. People are getting tired of it, and there's a kind of exhaustion to it, and also a tension. So we feel that we want to travel, or we feel that we want to go out, that we want to socialize again. And the energy doesn't go, it cannot go horizontal. The energy goes vertical. And when it goes vertical, it really goes and brings up stuff for many people. It brings us issues or emotional feelings such as sadness and aggression. I had a total anger outburst, but I also had torn ligaments. So I'm here in a really beautiful city at the side of the city. So there's a lot of green. But the parks were so crowded. It was really nice weather. And because of the torn ligaments, I couldn't walk so much to get out of the crowd. So I was almost stuck in the crowd. And I'm not good if I feel stuck. I'm not good if I'm not allowed to move. And from my body, I couldn't really move. And then also from rules and regulations, I couldn't really move here in Bavaria or in the Munich area. So that brought a lot of stuff out and memories of times when I couldn't really move, or when I felt stuck in a job, or I felt stuck in a body that was sick. So for me, I had to really work through that stuckness to calm my mind again. One thing that I think is such a wonderful opportunity, and I don't want to be sarcastic about it, because, it's not that we choose it. It's something where I say, okay, this is a situation, so what can I make out of it? What's my purpose right now? How can I make this lesson that I will benefit from when the lockdown is completed and finished and we are moving again? So what can I take, is my takeaway value out of this? And that is my red line. Also in times when it's getting really tough. And I know when it's getting really tough, sometimes it's a glass of wine and a good meal, and then you feel much better and have a movie. That's not why I'm saying that you want to exclude that. It's including. But from the training of the mind, from the consciousness training, in A Course in Miracles, those who are familiar with it know it, those who are not, it's about shifting your mind from fear to love. And our world is so based on fear. That's why there's so much panic right now. And that's why the world almost feels like built on sand. In fear, there's no logic and there's no stability. So what's happening in our minds is examining and exploring our mind when it comes to self-love. Not just loving the outside, loving our family, our partners, loving our work, loving our passion, our hobby. We still have that, but that is always has an outer reach to it. It's almost some people, and as it's a channel for women, we get needy. We get needy that we get the appreciation, the success, the love from a partner, the love from our kids. So we feel fulfilled. And that's happening, and sometimes it's happening not. And people on the outside, especially our romantic partners, they absolutely feel if we are dependent on their love. Kids absolutely, especially teenagers, they absolutely feel if we are needy for their love and appreciation. So I think this is a beautiful time to practice training our mind, observing our mind. How harsh are we with ourselves right now? And self-love is such a foreign concept. I have not been trained to learn that at school. Absolutely not. I learned it, I think, give yourself a bubble bath. Give yourself a piece of chocolate or two or three, or, a whole bunch of chocolate. That was kind of the self-love that's where I was stuck, and then didn't go further. So yes, loving someone, loving the environment, loving our work, that makes sense, doesn't it? But what does it mean? I love myself. I'm my own best friend. I love myself as my neighbor, which is completely far concept out. So how can we make that abstract concept more tangible, more practical for us? What it helped for me is self-love is choosing loving thoughts for yourself. Self-love is receiving, if you believe that there is a guidance, a higher guidance. You can call it indeed God, Jesus, Spirit. You can call it universe. You can call it your teacher, your inner guide, Buddha, whatever name is comfortable for you. It's just anything that is not your mind, your small mind, your ego mind, anything that is from a higher perspective that you turn to when you need help, that you turn to when you have, I mean, I learned to really turn to this inner voice and this inner guide, like almost all the time. Sometimes I forget if I'm too busy, and sometimes I think, oh, I will be quicker than, I do it myself, and I'm always mistaken. But coming back to that source, so you can choose your thoughts and you can receive your thoughts. To choose thoughts is like you are more the observer of your thoughts. You have a little bit of a distance. You step behind and see, oh, here again, I'm really harsh on myself. I'm thinking, oh, for instance, Janine, you are coaching this. You should be really good at it. Now you're getting really angry. You're really aggressive. You really are judgmental what's happening in Germany and the government right now. Or you're judgmental with people. How could they just be so narrow-minded in how they're dealing with that? And I get even more aggressive. Then I have families around me, screaming kids around me. I cannot escape. My leg is not healing. Why is my leg not healing faster? I should be healed by next week and go back to dance training, at least online dance training. So I can get into that spiral, and then the whole past comes up and you think, well, my leg was hurting already before. Now that was a really tough time. See, now it's happening this again, and I will not be able to do this unless I do have a surgery, and then I have a surgery and have again another 8 or 3 months, 8 weeks or 3 months where I cannot train. See, that is, why does it always happen to you? Maybe you should have done so much. Maybe you should have listened to your doctor more. Maybe you shouldn't have taken it so easy. You should have listened to yourself, listen to the doctor. So you see where I get the spiral. And if I go there and I don't observe that, I'm not aware of that, that chatter can go on and on. So by the time it's nighttime, I'm surely either depressed, I'm totally angry, I'm absolutely not loving with my environment, I'm absolutely not loving with myself. And the spiral went to, oh, then I can also kill myself. If I'm that sick, if I cannot dance, I have that again, and then I'm locked down, and then I might hear some news. That's it. I don't want to live anymore. So that's how easy that spiral of negativity can go. So in that spiral, there is no love. There is no loving thought. And that's definitely thoughts of attack. So I'm constantly attacking myself with that. That's absolutely contra to the love that I'm talking about. But the training, what I did, I trained the inner observant meditation, where I do observe my body. I scan my body in meditation. First, I take a couple of breaths. Then I'm observing my breath just for a few seconds, not that long. I make it really easy on myself. I don't make it harsh. It's already tense enough. Why should I make those bars very high? I lower my bar a little bit. And then I'm scanning my body. I'm scanning, my legs and my upper torso, and then my shoulders and my hands and arms, and I scan my face and my chin. Mostly there is some tension here. So I'm just really easy. So while I'm scanning it, and after the scan, I think, okay, here I'm scanning my body. So obviously I'm not my body. And then I go into my thoughts. What am I thinking right now? Oh, there's some kind of really horrible thoughts right now. Fear of it's not healing. I'm just talking about my case. Of fear of, oh, maybe your feeling is not right. Maybe the jobs are going to be, and maybe it is the Third World War. Maybe people are right. Everything that's just in the air right now, maybe it's not as positive as you think. Or, oh, there was a positive. Maybe you're just in the now. In the now, everything is fine. You still have food, everything. So, there's a lot of whirlwind going back and forth. But seeing them, like on a screen or like a little bit of distance, I see, okay, here I am. I'm not my thoughts. So I have a distance between that. And then I'm going to my feelings. What do I feel? I do feel sad. I do feel angry. I feel caged. I feel in prison. I feel I cannot move. I feel afraid I cannot dance. Then I feel afraid that maybe this is going to, it's not going to be as good as you would think. And so it makes me anxious. It makes me more afraid. A minute ago, I wasn't afraid. I was totally high-end. I was passionate. I was very positive. Then I hear somebody saying something who says the total opposite. So my emotions might go in that direction. And okay, I see my emotions are absolutely unstable. In my bodies, my pains go back and forth. My pain go back and forth. And in my thoughts, it does the same. So there's a lot of instability happening while I'm observing that. So I see that I'm also not my emotions. Thank God I'm not my emotions. Otherwise, I'm going back and forth and I do not have an anchor. And that's what you see in the world right now. People are in their thoughts. They're in their mental processes. They're in their bodies. They're in their emotions. So it's from anger to aggression to depression to sadness to fear to positivity to motivation. It's just going back and forth. So if we are in our observant state, and most of you might already know that, that's where I'm building in my exercise, in my morning exercise, my anchor and my stability. And that has really done a lot for me, a lot, as simple as this exercise is. So in that I see I'm really determined and committed to choose loving thoughts. So I go through the spiral, and then, for instance, my really big topic is then trigger point is the pattern of fear when it comes to the body. And then I see my leg is not healing as it was, and I go up, and then I say, stop. Okay, your commitment is, remember, Janine, your commitment is choosing loving thoughts for yourself, self-love. And then I choose, yeah, it is this way, that thought. And maybe it's just not on just only my body. Maybe I'm just worrying so much that I give it so much attention. Maybe just it's not that as it you have grown, you have evolved. You don't have to go back to the past. That happened in the past. What's now? What do you really feel now? Yes, I do feel it's going to be okay. Don't worry. I do feel just keep going. Don't worry. Just send your leg light. While you're walking, always go and say to yourself, with every step I'm moving forward, I'm feeling the strength of the light in my ankle, for instance. That's just the example that I have. And if that's not happening, if I feel really down, I say, totally and fully accept what you are right now. You feel you're a mess. You feel you're sad. You feel totally afraid that your leg is not healing. And you feel afraid that the lockdown is going to be, prolonged for another 2 weeks or 3. Be very gentle with yourself right now. Just be very gentle, very soft with yourself, very gentle. And that is something that I can always do. Always, I can always be gentle with myself, no matter how the situation is. It's always like almost stepping back from the whole scenario of drama, of mind spiral, and stepping back from that and stepping into a presence of love, into a presence of gentleness. That's always there. That's very simple. It's just right there. And you don't have to do very much, and everything calms down. It's just a little bit of practice, and it really works. We are not climbing the mountain. We cannot even climb the mountain, most of us. So it's very simple. And that makes things so much easier. And also when I say, okay, I do, like in A Course of Miracles, you ask for a miracle. I need a miracle. I need a shift of perception. I'm in fear right now. It seems to be so far out to be in love. So I need a miracle. I need help. And I definitely then talk to my guide and to my inner teacher. And I have my whiteboard, and my whiteboard is either white or it is I need help. And then that's like a signal. I'm open to receive love. I'm open to receive loving thoughts. I'm open to receive loving ideas. I'm open to receive inspiration. And then things come. Maybe it's a movie that was really helpful, or I hear something from a podcast, or I read something, or just like a voice says, just be gentle with yourself. That's all you have to do right now. Just be gentle. And it takes so much stress away. And when things are going tough on the outside, or people are not reacting the way I love them to react, or my expectations has been different on my partner or on my mother, although my mother is my little hero, I always call her my hero, then, I see that I get in reaction, I get impulsive or whatever I did. So I step back and just always say, just be in yourself, just be with yourself. Allow the other person to be that way, and allow yourself to be that way you are right now. Just bring in allowance, acceptance. Doesn't mean that I'm a doormat and not expressing myself, but I'm not doing in that reaction, in this obsessive reaction of drama. of aggression or poor me or victimhood, I see that I have a tendency to that, but I'm not going in there because I see that my story is coming up. So the old story is, oh, victimhood. Oh, this is not happening. Aggression. I wanted you to do that. So I stop the story. I literally go back and stop the story. And I literally go back and say, these are attacking thoughts. Those thoughts that I'm angry on my partner, and then I'm getting aggressive, or that I'm angry on the people, then I'm getting aggressive. That are all attacking thoughts. And that has nothing to do with committed self-love. So in my self-love, I'm stepping back into a presence of love. I still express myself, but I don't shout. I don't whine. I don't complain. It's very funny. Men don't hear that. I know, you know what I mean. We are soul sisters. You know that when we are whining, complaining, crying, shouting, men are such great mirrors. They don't hear that. They don't hear the talking. We have said this 100 times. You can say it 1,000 times. They don't hear that. But if we come back to ourselves first, and that's training, it doesn't work. It doesn't work from one day to another. When we step back, there's a different sovereignty. There's a different, I don't know what to say. The voice is different. It has a different notion. It has a different vibration. I don't know what to say. But because, like romantic relationships, an extreme, great, difficult, no bullshit mirrors. The mirror in front of us, and mostly it's in our partner, immediately mirrors back. If we come from a way more loving standpoint, and it's first loving for ourselves, we are not fighting against ourselves and against the other. We are voicing our truths in a calm manner or in a hurt manner, but it's softer. The real emotion is not loud. The real action from within is not gripping or shaking or making it a big drama. The real action that comes from our heart, from our center, from our intuition, from a place of gentleness, a place of compassion for ourselves, has a very different energy, a very different empowering solution to it. And maybe the solution is not coming, but the energy is shifting. And sometimes I even don't have to talk with my partner. If I step back and see all the triggers that are coming up, and I give myself the time to go back and work through the triggers, and don't jump on him right away or jump into the situation. But also if I jump, I say, I'm jumping right now. I see what I'm doing and this is hurting me. We don't have to find a solution now. You don't have to tell me anything now. But I would love to come back to you tomorrow because this is important to me. This is the best I can say right now. And I'm emotional, and are you okay with that? That we are talking about this. Very different. If I start coming from neediness or victimhood, expectation, poor me, I wanted you to be that way, and now poor me, you are not my way, and I must have chosen the wrong guy. Or you are not in love enough. If you would be in love more, or if you would feel this partnership is more interesting or more valuable for you, you would do that. So, all that. So having that clutter in the background of your mind and coming from that notion and perspective, from that story, you can guarantee there will never be a solution. Your partner will mostly not listen. If he listens, then it's the beginning. If you're longer together after a few years, he doesn't hear it anymore. He doesn't hear it anymore. He closes down, and then it becomes a nasty cycle because he closes down, so he's not communicating. And then we as women start to have, we don't stop talking, because we think the more we talk, the more they finally open up. At some point, he must get it. I would have saved so much suffering, so much energy, and for sure, so much talking if I would have known that years ago. So it is the quietness and the calmness in my talk, in my communication, and it's something inside of me that shifts inward. I'm getting, I'm seeing already my finger here. Look at my finger, it looks funny. Sorry, I didn't mean that, but it's really an inward action. It's an inward action first. And in that, doing that gentleness, then from there, everything that communicates in the outside, and it's very often nonverbal, something happens in him. And the better you get at that, the more you're dedicated to do that. And there's never perfection. But you can see, wow, maybe not right away, but maybe like a week later or a few hours later, he says something that I would have wished he would have said maybe before, but something in my energy has changed to allow the whole situation to change. And that to me is self-love. And it's you take care of yourself first. You take care of your mind. Your mind training is you train yourself to choose and receive the thoughts that are not attacking neither yourself nor the other. And finding a way how you keep yourself as gentle and as safe as possible. And from there, the whole way how you appear to the outside, how you show up, how you carry yourself in grace starts to change. And then you will observe it, the whole energy around you shifts and becomes softer. And what it does is then you're a true leader. And this is why I say that at this time, it is so important that females and women are showing up, because from our gender and archetype, we have a very different way of how we interact with this crisis situation right now. Men are almost, that's a generalization, and forgive me if you see it differently, but I have observed in my little universe that men are very obsessed sometimes about more information, getting there, more knowing, and then they get almost in a tunnel vision. And there is something to it. Don't say that everything is wrong. Women, we go in circles. We gather, we collect, we come together, we nurture, we share. It's very different. We express our emotions. So maybe we get a little bit too out there sometimes, but we really come in a more embracing way. And when women come forward and practice this idea, this quality of life from a standpoint of self-love, of choosing the love, of choosing the thoughts, that are thoughts of love, that are thoughts of appreciation, of respect. And you are the chooser in quotes. You are the leader. You are the one in your system who chooses, that thought doesn't fit anymore, that story is hurting. I'm not doing that. I am getting stronger every minute and every day in myself to be the leader of my system, of my life. And people will notice that, and you will immediately raise the quality of your life and of the community and environment around you. So this is what I mean with, if we don't do an inside out process, and what better time, as tough as it is, and guys, it's also tough for me, I'm not kidding. I really, really want to have a social life again and go out and dance and go and book a flight and travel and see my mom in Hamburg. And there's so much on my list that I want to do. And at the same time, I can absolutely see how it has trained me and how it has also trained to connect very strongly with my inner guide again. So, and I also could see that, wow, if we see ourselves as leaders in whatever area we are into, and always connect with ourselves first, always check in with our mind, always see our small mind being embraced by a much bigger mind that we are not knowing of. But when we connect to choosing self-loving thoughts, loving thoughts, then there is a transparency, then there is no filter, then there is no veil. So we have a kind of immediate connection to a much bigger universe, to a much bigger scope of wisdom, of knowledge, that when we are getting narrow, because you can feel it in your emotions. I'm getting angry, I'm getting into my story, I'm getting sad, I'm a victim. It becomes very narrow. It's almost like it's taking my breath. And in your mind, it starts to get very cluttered. So and that's just one thought away. So you can always choose. And training that, the clutter just eases up. and it becomes lighter, and it becomes lighthearted, and it becomes transparent. And in that, you have the potential to access a whole different knowledge that was not accessible before. And in that space, people, you not only, and that's what it does, you not only free yourself and heal yourself, you automatically do it for the others around you. And that is something that is just amazing to me. And then you give from there, but you don't give in trying to heal or rescue or change your outside or the other person to your convenience. You start very simple with this one thought after another, one thought after another. It's practice. And then you become stronger and your scope is broadened. And that's, to me, true leadership. And I think that females are so ready to take that on and practice that because they feel they're ready to do that and become leaders in their own field. Leaders as parents, leaders in their businesses, leaders in their dreams, because I think the dream for us is going to be so strong connected to our vocation. And to me, this is a time when we are going to be able to step forward, and we are supposed and asked to step forward. Not in the old story of competition, of not enough. And it's a really new consciousness, a new mindset. But that mindset starts with ourselves first. And the anchor and the reset button is always coming back to self-love. Like when you're a dancer or when you do any kind of sports or you play an instrument, you always warm up your instrument. You always warm up your body also when you're a dancer. You go to ballet, you go to the bar. You go to jogging, and normally you would stretch and you start to jog, just warm up the body. And then comes the momentum when you're ready to go on stage, when you're ready to start and sing and play an instrument. And that is the same, but you every day, before you do that, you train and practice, you go back home. And when I go back and to warm up, now with my torn ligaments, and then I come finally to the end of the story, when I know that I need to go back to warm up. So next week, my warm up period starts, and I will start again, because this warming up my body for dancing has been my life the last 18 years, 20 years, so intensely. So going back to warm up, the same simple repetition all the time, again and again. That's when I'm on reset. That's when I'm home. I'm back home. I'm here. I'm back on zero. I'm building from there. And when I'm strong in that, then I can dance, I can heal, I can feel the strength, I can connect. And that's why I think there's going vertical in this bubble time of lockdown, where we cannot compensate as much as we usually can. That's when we cannot go horizontal and our energy gets so easily fragmented. But our energy is really pulled, it goes down and vertical to train those exercises. That's when I think when it becomes beautiful, valuable, not easy. I'm not talking about easy, but about, okay, I surrender to that. I radically accept the situation because I know I learned something that will have so much value to me that I will look back and say it was tough. And for all those who are in really big shit, my prayers go out to them. And for those of us who are just, annoyed or tired, we still have enough energy to do that. And we still have enough lot of knowing that we know we can use this to have a positive contribution when this is going to open up again, in what ways ever. And to wrap up my time to growth period, I call it, I like to introduce you again she was my last talk guest, and her name is Kissa Paludan. You might have seen her. She's an amazing, wonderful spiritual psychologist. She's also a student and teacher of A Course in Miracles. I adore her in her wisdom, in her confidence, in her strength. And she has prepared 2 exercises on self-love. And that's her focus. That's her specialty as a spiritual psychologist. And I highly recommend you to listen to that and take it as, take those impulses in, those tools in, because they're very practical. They're very immediate and direct and help us right now where we need it. On this positive note, we see each other again. I've got 2 more until this period and the series of the Global Love Warrior is completed. the Modern Witch from Scotland. I'm going to interview her this week. And beginning of next week, I have a wonderful artist and musician and singer. And she's doing a little concert online for us. And I'm going to see her on Monday next week. So until then, have a soulful, have a, what can I say? I cannot say have a beautiful, joyful, restful time. I mean, that's too superficial, isn't it? But have an inward, down, insightful time where you feel the moments of bliss and the moments of gratitude, and the knowing that what we get out of this is going to be so strong and helpful for what happens after this lockdown is going to be completed. On this positive note, and finally, have a beautiful time. Now I say it again. No, don't. I stop. Have a good time. Until then.